Hello boys and girls, welcome to my channel. I'm the Nvida GT, and for today what I have in here it is Shenmue. So Shenmue, it is a game that it was developed a long time ago, and it was initially released for the Sega Dreamcast. We are currently testing in here the Shenmue 2, the remaster. The remaster was developed by the D3T, but the game was initially developed by the Epson. I don't know how to pronounce it, it's Epson S.NET. Okay, so at the time they did use an internal engine. It was a nice game, and it was probably one of the first games to embrace some sort of open world and a nice story. Okay, so it was a game that it made a lot of difference. I'm not really sure if it still holds up today or not. That depends a lot on what people will say. I never played Shenmue, so I have no idea about the game itself. But I know about the performance, and there are some good things and bad things about this remaster. The good one is that, well, this game it's very lightweight, okay? And as you can see, I'm going to show off a little bit of the settings in here, and we are running with our native resolution. The resolution scale is set to 100%, and super sampling it is set to 200%. Super sampling pretty much just doubles the resolution that you are rendering the game, and then downscales it back to your resolution. So basically the game it is getting rendered at something like 1500p. So it's a very high resolution for this laptop, but since this game graphics are so simple and so old, the graphic card holds up pretty well. Okay, so as you can see, the GPU usage is around 76%, 70 to 80%. On the worst case scenario, you might get to 90%. But the game just holds on very fine. The bad thing is that the game it's completely capped to 30 frames per second, so you can't get more than 30 frames per second, whatever the system that you have, whatever the graphics that you choose. This is mostly because this game it's very old, and at the time, and even today, some games happen to have physics and some events locked and tied to the frame rate. So what happens is, when you get to a higher frame rate than the game was coded, the game behavior and physics will get anomalies and start to show some artifacts and some issues. So this is some of the big issues with the game. It's the lock to 30 frames per second. The second big issue for me, it's the cutscenes. This game, since it's very old, and at the time the screens had an aspect ratio of 4:3, they created cutscenes, but they didn't take in consideration that in the future they could have this game on 60:9 screens, and so happens this. So what happens is the game has borders all over the place. You get borders on upper and bottom, and also on the sides. So you get kind of this cutscene inside of a square. I fully understand why this is happening, because recently I had recompleted Max Payne 2, and I had installed a patch to support 16:9 without scratching the image. So what happens is you get a higher volume during the cutscenes, so you get a wider volume of the the scenario and stuff like that. And so I saw stuff that I wasn't supposed to, saw bugs and stuff like that, because Remedy, when did code Max Payne 2, they weren't expecting people to be playing with 16:9 screens. I believe that same is happening with Shenmue. I believe that if this game would support cutscenes with 16:9, you would get a wider view of the scenario, and it might show you stuff that wasn't supposed to be seen. Okay, and so they decided to lock it out to the 4:3. So for me, this is the only bad things about this remaster. You can add to that the fact that the remaster is it's kind of a very simple remaster, okay? The visuals are pretty much the same as the initial release of the Dreamcast. The initial Dreamcast had bad filtered textures and very bad resolution at the time. This remaster, you get very high resolution, you get a nice texture filtering, so everything is much more soft and well treated, but the assets are pretty much the same, the textures are the same as the Dreamcast, and this game is very old, so you clearly notice that. Even despite it's a remaster, this is a very simple remaster. Well, you kind of have some new stuff, like for example Bloom, but that's pretty much like it. So in the end, even a potato can run this game, and this laptop has no troubles playing this game. Okay, so I guess that's all, guys. Thank you a lot for watching, and I do hope to see you soon. Goodbye, guys. Think a lot.